It is Wednesday night, Auburn Family Night, where we talk about anything and everything in the Auburn family spectrum. This is a show that's all about you, the Auburn family, your calls, your comments, your questions, all of that here on another edition of our Auburn Family live streams. Welcome back, folks. It has been a minute since we've been able to do a regular Auburn Family Night live stream. With basketball season and then sometimes having games in the middle of that, me going on vacation, our schedule, our routine of Wednesday nights just sitting around the proverbial campfire and talking to each other has been a little bit interrupted, but we're back in the saddle again tonight. So I'm excited. I'm always excited to do this show because it's the easiest one for me to do. Literally nothing that I have to prepare except to share my own thoughts and opinions, because this is a show that is produced by you, for you, about you, what you want to talk about, all of that stuff. So let's go ahead and get this thing kicked off like we normally would. This is our check-in period at the start of every live stream that we do. Right now, as you're watching, post where you're watching from, your city, your state, international, all of that stuff. Let us know that you're here hanging out with us, spending some time talking with us and being part of our little family within the Auburn family spectrum. You can do that, post War Eagle, however you'd like to celebrate to get started off tonight. But you could also let us know you're here by smashing that like button. That is an easy way to help us grow, to help us continue to grow our little family within the Auburn family. I know I'm a little distracted at this moment. My cell phone has decided to not cooperate with me as it normally would, a little bit out of the routine, but do all those things for me. Check in for me, smash that like button, all that good stuff. Let's get this show started off on a good note. So whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff, we appreciate you being here, however you get here tonight. For the call-in portion of this show, it's brought to you by our friends at allthingsauburn.net. We will talk a little bit about them later on in the show. Bring their logo up for you now to see. And of course, we will go ahead and open up the phone lines for you to take advantage of tonight at any point. Don't be shy. I don't bite super hard, but you can be on camera or off camera, however you'd like to do. So however you'd like to take advantage of that, that is available for you. Now, if you're on Facebook or Twitter watching, the link is available pinned at the top of the YouTube chat. So if you're on Facebook or Twitter, want to call in, you'll have to come over here, which we encourage you to do. We're glad you're over there and watching, but the home base for us is definitely here on YouTube. So what is on y'all's minds tonight? What do we got? Normal Guy says, what up? What's up with you? What do you want to talk about? This is y'all's show. Y'all got to tell me what you want to talk about, or else I'm just going to yammer on about the things that I want to talk about. I think I would start here tonight. A lot of people I know are very, we'll call it discouraged, frustrated, concerned is a good way of thinking about it in terms of the trajectory of the Auburn basketball team and where they're going to go. This morning, we did a live stream discussing that point, talking about what is the pathway to the NCAA tournament, to March Madness for Auburn. It is fraught with perils. We walked that out a lot this morning. But what I continue to try to reiterate for folks is, A, as has happened several times this season already, we're panicking way too much about things that are still have got to be worked out on the court. And B, if you don't make it, my goodness, calm down. We went decades without making the tournament. We are just now becoming a more regular, prominent part of the conversation. So that's not to dismiss the disappointment that the players are having, that we're having, all the stuff with the way things are going in a trend right now. Most basketball seasons tend to go this way. They tend to have a cycle of ups and downs, a roller coaster type of event, and it's even more so of a roller coaster when we're doing it as Auburn fans. We know how that tends to work out for us, doesn't it feel like? So I'm not concerned about it right now. I'm intrigued, challenged by the path that they have to the NCAA tournament. It is going to be, they have put themselves in a tough spot. I will say that very much. What do you guys feel about it? Are you concerned? Are you not worried? Are you kind of somewhere in between? If you've got feelings about that particular topic, let me know. Would love to hear any perspectives about where your head's at with the basketball team. The same things that continue to more the team were there. The offensive production, people have seemed to have honed in on the what is known as the 2 spot for the guard, not your point guard, but not your biggest guard out there or your small forward type of situation. You throw names out there like Zep Jasper, Katie Johnson, who fill those roles. Zep has never been one to be an offensive mastermind or provider, right? He's definitely been one that's kind of played his role and done it very, very well. One of the best defenders that we put down in the court. Katie Johnson, however, has shown that he can be quite the offensive talent at times, but he hasn't done that consistently yet this season. So all of that's still out there on the table. All of that is still can get righted. I will continue to push the narrative that Katie Johnson, once he gets himself consistently figured out, this team is going to be super, super deadly. And you could play that out for several other players as well. What happens if Juwan Traore gets it figured out? What happens if Chris Moore gets himself righted again with that injury that he had? There's a lot of what ifs situations that you can play out with this Auburn basketball team to see potentially where they can head into, potentially postseason play. Now, there is obviously the option of going to what we want, March Madness, but there's other things like the NIT. Some people will forget that there was a time where Bruce Pearl was not willing to accept an invitation to the NIT because they felt like they had underperformed. I don't know if he would do that again if we got into that scenario. For those of you that don't know, there's the NCAA tournament, March Madness, which everybody knows. Well, most everybody knows, the big one. And then there's NIT. It's kind of like the consolation tournament, if you will. It's got a lot of the teams that did not make it or just missed the bubble or the cut, so to speak. Auburn could find themselves in that when we get down to it. Texas A&M last year, somebody who got just gypped, should have been in the tournament, found themselves in there, I believe. I think they did pretty dang good, if I remember. So it could be a situation where if Auburn somehow doesn't get this ship righted and they find themselves in the NIT, they could find themselves in a field where they might be able to dominate. Because you will be playing decent teams, but not the best of the best of the best in the NIT. That's usually how it goes. But every once in a while, you get a team in there that's not supposed to be there, and that was probably Texas A&M last year. So that's all still out there. That's all still on the table. It'll figure itself out. The great thing is Auburn has the hardest path to it, but the best opportunity to be able to make the most of what they have on the table with games against Alabama twice, Tennessee again, Kentucky. You win 3 out of the 4 of those, you're sitting just fine, my friends. So big challenge, but a lot of opportunities. And frankly, I'm just excited for March Madness. It is my favorite, especially the first 2 weekends of March Madness are, well, I should say the first week and the first sequence of them are my biggest exciting time of the year. All right, we got our first caller in, Mr. Positivity himself. Let's go ahead and say hello to him tonight. What's going on, Kevin?
Hey, War Eagle, we should beat Texas A&M last night.
We certainly should have. We were in position to do it. Why didn't we do it, man?
Free throws.
Free throws.
We missed free throws.
Yeah, everybody's been pointing out the free throws the last couple of hours or the last 24 hours. Yeah, if you've been watching this show, what have I preached?
That Walker White is good quarterback.
Yeah, he looks like a great quarterback coming out of high school. Obviously, you'll have to wait and see what he does when he gets here. There's a lot of people already starting to pile on the Yep, a lot of people already starting to pile on. He's the next best thing. Let's give him a chance to get here. Let's not put all those things on him. But I'm excited about him. I'm definitely excited about him. What else you got tonight, Kevin?
How about the wide receivers?
What in general? What about the wide receivers? Are you just asking my opinions about them? Kevin. We lost Kevin. All right, Kevin, call back in, buddy, if you want to. We'll let you call in one more time. I think we lost you there, unfortunately. Happens from time to time when people call in from different towers and all that kind of stuff. So, oh, is this him right here? We'll see if he gets in there. All right, there he is. Kevin, are you there? Kevin, can you hear me,
Yeah, I'm
buddy?
here.
All right,
I'm
there
here.
we are. We might have it for
Yeah.
just a few minutes here. So, what were you asking?
About the wide receivers.
Are you what specifically are you wanting to my opinion about the wide receivers? Just who's here, who's coming, all that stuff?
Who's still there?
Who's still there? So we lost Shedrick Jackson is the main one. We've got Landon King coming back. Javarius Johnson is back. To me, the biggest thing that I have with the wide receiver room is who's going to step up. It's the same big question that I've been asking for the last time. It seems since Seth
I
Williams, we haven't had somebody be the guy, right? So we need somebody to step up and be the guy.
I think those two wide receivers from the transfer portal, they will step up.
So if let me see if I can remember them. Gosh, I'm blanking. I can see them in my mind right now. The one from Cincinnati, right? And then Jaquavius Story.
Yeah.
Jaquavius, he's a young guy. A lot of times you see them have to kind of wait and pay their time before they actually make a significant contribution. However, the transfer coming in with his size, frankly, I see him being probably a contributor right away. Usually when the transfer comes in, they're usually going to at least play some right away, right?
I think Javarius Johnson might be the main player.
Yeah, I think when I said earlier that I don't think that somebody hasn't seized the role, the person who's done that the most is Javarius Johnson. So he's going to probably be the Shedrick Jackson of this team, the de facto leader. Now there's being the de facto leader, and then there's going to be the guy who actually does it on the field.
We still got Tavares Dawson.
Honestly, yes, I think he is still here, right?
Yeah, he withdrew his name, and he came back to Auburn.
Yeah, I usually get some of these guys mixed up when they go in and out of the portal. It was I'm forgetting the other one that went in there and left. Desalen Worsham. That's right. He came for one season, barely did anything, and he's gone off to somewhere else. So yes, Tavares has been one of those guys that a lot of people have talked big about, but nothing's happened yet for whatever reason. So it's not that I'm downplaying what they can do. I'm waiting for someone to seize the opportunity to be the guy, to be the next Seth Williams.
You think we get that running back out of Andalusia, Alabama?
Yeah, I was reading an article about him today. The big question is, can Auburn 2 cycles in a row get the best running back out of the state of Alabama? When you look at the running back room, to me, it depends on what he wants, right? It's not full, but if he's going to have to play behind all these guys, Jeremiah Cobb's in the mix, and he's probably going to be the next best thing. So if he's willing to be patient and bide his time, then yeah, I think we can get him. But it just depends on. I think it's a battle between Auburn and Alabama. I don't know what their running back room looks like right now. It's probably comparable.
I think we will get him because Walker White is recruiting for Auburn.
It helps.
Players.
It does help when you have your main early guys, whether they're the first, second, or third person, but especially a quarterback who's the de facto leader of the team.
Yeah,
doing all that kind of legwork to help recruit them. So yeah, there's a lot of things in Auburn's favor, especially with Cadillac recruiting him, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things in Auburn's favor in that category. I just so I think he said he's whittling down his list. But to me, I feel like that one is one that'll drag out for a little bit. So,
how about the defense backs?
Which ones?
DJ James and Nehemiah Pritchett.
Well, I'm excited to have Nehemiah back. We really needed some, guys to stay back over and be leaders. Him and DJ James, I think, are going to be the anchors there. So I'm excited for them, but I'm also excited about these new guys that are coming in that are going to be potentially the next great wave of defensive backs, whether they be corners, nickel backs, safeties at Auburn, because we've been building up a nice little defensive back you for quite some time. So
when you think they announced the fan day?
Oh man, if they do it, it'll.
I
And
bet we I
I,
bet we will have fan day, normal fan day this year.
are you talking? So you're talking about after the spring game? Or are you talking about in the fall?
After in the fall.
Well, in the fall, they'll probably do something the week before, but that's how Coach Harsin did it. We'll see. Coach Freeze does his own thing, his own way. So unfortunately, I have no answers for you because I've never done a season with Coach Freeze. So
I'm
we'll just have
going.
to wait and see.
I might go to the A-Day game this
You
year.
better go to the A-Day game because I'm going to be there. We're all going to be there. You got to be there, Kevin, man. So, well, buddy, it was great to hear from you tonight. Thanks for calling in as always and being our light of positivity.
Yeah, the day after Auburn's A-Day game, my girlfriend's birthday is on that Sunday.
Well, then you got to be there so you can celebrate a little bit early. So it'd be great if we could meet up there, and I'll wish her a happy birthday and get to meet you.
Would they have Tiger Walk?
I don't know. I unfortunately I don't have those answers. They'll probably announce that if they want that. They traditionally don't have a Tiger Walk for that, but
I bet they did last year.
Did they last year? I can't remember.
Yeah,
they might have, but I can't remember. It's been so long. I can't remember what I had for dinner tonight.
Yeah. Talk to you later, Warrior.
All right, Warrior Kevin. Good to see you, buddy. Bye. All right. Thanks, Kevin, for calling in. All right. If you want to call in tonight, please do so. And let me know that you're here. If you'll just call in, you can be on camera like he was or off camera tonight. Corey, good to see you. Corey, I got your email. I'm looking at all that stuff, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Let's see what everybody else was commenting about in here while we were chatting with my boy Kevin. Given the problems we have in basketball, is Saturday a must-win for not only confidence, but also maybe to go on, but also maybe go on a little winning streak? Is it a must-win? And I guess I would have to ask you what you mean by is it a must-win in terms of if Auburn loses this one, they're out for the season? No, in no way are they out for the season. Does it make things even more difficult if they don't get this one? Absolutely, it does. No, I don't think we're in the must-win territory, but we're getting very close to it. But they will go on probably a winning streak after this one. They got to go out there and play the game, but that's their one little reprieve from what's happening on this back half of the schedule. I'm sure the players and the coaches are frustrated with all the calls. Hopefully, they will put all of that frustration from the last two games in the Iron Bowl. So you talk about that. You talk about game day coming to town. Here's the one frustrating thing that's happening. Well, not one frustrating. The frustrating thing that's happening just around outside of the game, right? So we had an opportunity here for Auburn and Alabama to come into this thing highly ranked together and just, the energy level being out the roof. That is not going to happen. Simply Alabama took a loss. Auburn's taken a few losses now. That kind of has lost a little bit of that. But still, it's the Iron Bowl. Still, it's college game day. Well, unfortunately, now what it looks like is that the rain is about to come through Auburn and wreck what could be Tent City, or AKA no longer called, but I just can't stop calling it that, Pearlville 2.0. I hope some of the students still want to do that, but my hunch is that they won't go out there until the early morning and sit out in that rain, which is really unfortunate because I at this moment I'm still planning to come to Auburn. I don't have a ticket to the game or anything like that, but I wanted to go capture Pearlville because that's what we're all about, capturing the Auburn experience. And but if that's not going to happen, it's kind of like, if you don't have tickets to the matches or the games this weekend, there's really no point to come at that point. So I'm really hoping that we will have an opening up of the sun and an opportunity to have that still happen and be a big thing there. Let's see. It just seems like the team has their backs against the wall, and this one just seems like an all or nothing game. I think scandalous that I mean, I don't know where your head's at and all that, just going off what you're writing here. I think you're probably reading a little too much into the hysteria online. Backs are not against the wall. It is getting, crunch time is approaching. We're about as close as we can get, but losing this game doesn't eliminate you in any way. If this was an Alabama team of normal where they've underperformed and you lose this game, then yes, that's a big problem. This is one of the best teams in the nation thus far. Fan day in the Wolt. I can't pronounce that right. The Woltzel Performance Center, Football Performance Center. I'm just calling it the football facility. would be fun. Probably not going to get that. They are moved in there now. They keep that thing, probably locked down, pristine. I was just thinking today, actually, when I got to go to the media tour, how much fun I had there, and just really seeing the stuff that even, the general public tours didn't get to see. And so, yeah, I don't think fan day at the Walt is going to happen, but I've been wrong before. So if they do a fan day, which let me differentiate. So kind of like what Kevin was talking about. Traditionally, they'll do like a meet and greet autograph session after a day. They haven't done the last few years, first of all, because of COVID. But second of all, I'm sure now because of NIL. We'll see if that changes under Hugh Freeze. But then there's a fan day, which kind of is the last week before the season starts, or maybe 2 weeks before the season starts, where they might have an open practice. They invite fans to come out before the game for food, snacks, and games, all that kind of stuff. But all that's up in the air. If this is Coach Hugh Freeze's show now, he really gets to dictate what they do and don't participate in. He seems like a community-driven guy, so I wouldn't expect him to not do something similar to that. But it's his to pick, right? I was expecting a little bump in the road for basketball. Will be a lot better next year. Why are you dismissing this, right? Don't be dismissing this. The season's not over. Everybody's signed out. Nobody needs to sign out at this point. What's up, Devin? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Yeah, everybody take a deep breath. We don't have to write off this season just yet, just because it hasn't turned out how we wanted it thus far. That's why I love the game of basketball, though, is because it can literally just be like this the entire year. And if you just hit it at the right spot, then you'll just like. A lot of people talk about peaking at the right time. Has Auburn peaked yet? I don't think so. You have to actually get to a peak to actually peak, and I don't think that's arrived at any point. I played basketball, and having a losing, I did as well. Having a losing streak like this takes a toll on a team's confidence. I mean, I think that's the same for anything, for sports in general, for life. If you got a losing streak in life, it can really tank your confidence. But at some point you reach, and this team's nowhere near this point, but you kind of go, okay, well, what have I got to lose at this point? To me, we're kind of in that arena at this point. Auburn's, all the streaks, the history that they were wanting to make at this point have been, well, for this season, the things they kind of had in their minds, the back of their minds that they were shooting towards, the weeks being ranked, all that stuff. It's the home winning streak. That's all done now. So a lot of that's kind of let some of the air out of the balloon, and you can see there's a little bit of that pressure release. But what happens when they start pressurizing it again? Might start playing them just up to their potential. This is a very good team, as I've been saying. Very good team. They're just missing this much. The time frame for finding that much is getting short, though. I hope Alabama has peaked. Maybe we will start their downfall this weekend. I somehow doubt that, Devin. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that we, regardless of downfall, if we cause it or not, I'm the win. I'm still predicting that, and I'm still expecting that. But the big thing with Alabama basketball is they have yet to show that they can consistently do something throughout the season. And this year they're showing that thus far. Corey says, I'm an old man, Kyle. I've seen the future. Have you seen my hairline? I'm an old man too. You can't see it, but I got grays in here, man. It won't be long before y'all can fully see it here on the screens. But yeah, I can definitely tell, though, just in relation to this and discussion about basketball, the energy level is really, really low around Auburn stuff right now. It's been funny watching, like, just to give you guys a curtain pull back, the interest level, even like in content. I'm sure all Auburn content creators are seeing this to some extent, that, last season for football, even though there was a lot of strife, not this, the beginning of the Brian Harsin era and that basketball season, there's a lot of intrigue around that. So we're all getting a lot of hits and stuff. This season, because of everything that happened with football, the frustrations of basketball right now, it's kind of we've kind of dipped down in like the excitement for Auburn, and there's really something that really needs to kickstart it. And I'm hoping basketball is going to be onto that road for us. I'm hoping softball and baseball are kind of ignite people again, but it's kind of, I don't want to call it sad, but it's just kind of boring right now. Everybody's just looking for things to get mad about. We peaked at the perfect time in 2019. No one believed we would be in the Final Four after a 30-point loss to Kentucky. Amen. I did not think that we would be in the Final Four that year, but boy, did we find the right moment at the right time to hit our peak. And there is something to that. I don't put a complete stock in that, but there is something behind that. If they win Saturday, it will definitely be the best win of the season thus far. 100%. Yeah, I mean, even if Auburn beats USC on the road, beats Tennessee on the road, it would still be the best win based on how they're ranked right now. That Tennessee on the road win would probably be more impressive just by the metrics because it's on the road and it's a quad one win. But yes, regardless, winning Saturday in the Nev against a highly ranked Alabama team, top 5, top 3 Alabama team, be sweet on so many levels. I'm hopeful for it. I feel like picking on the lesser this weekend. So anybody going to Auburn this weekend? Anybody got tickets? Those coveted things. Listen, you got a lot going on. If you are in and around tomorrow night, you've got women's basketball hosting the #1 South Carolina Gamecocks. I believe that's the opponent. So there's that. No offense to our team there, but I don't know that anybody is going to be beating the South Carolina Gamecocks, but I've seen us do crazier things. Friday, you've got the Nev being filled up for Suni Lee, for Darian Goborn, Sophia Grow, Hollinsworth, all the girls for gymnastics versus LSU. That's going to be a big thing. And then Saturday, the big one, the college game day basketball game. It is a hopping time Thursday to Saturday in Auburn. If only softball had opened their season in Auburn, that'd have been the place to be. But thankfully, they're probably thankful they didn't open up their season in Auburn this weekend because of the rain that's coming through. How are you liking the 24 football commit so far? Great. And you just set me up with a softball. If you haven't, please do go check out the last 2 videos that we put out for you the last 2 days. We broke down Jaden Lewis. I was gone when they happened, so we finally put those out. Jaden Lewis, our What It Means video. You can go check that out. But also today, we put out Walker White, the new quarterback. Very happy in terms of the perception game. That's about all you could ask for in terms of stars and all that stuff. You know, I don't put a lot of stock into that. But what I like so far is that we've already, it's not as simple as just filling out a traditional football roster every single year. Like you want to get 2 cornerbacks, 2 safeties in this system, probably 2 linebackers, 5 defensive linemen, and an edge rusher or whatever included in that. But I like that we've already covered those bases and we found 2 highly regarded, highly touted, highly valued guys from close proximity too, from our area, from our state, in Amon Lane and Jaden Lewis. That's got me really excited. I am excited about the new quarterback. I'm excited for his future, but to me, my hope, my best scenario is that we don't need him for 1 to 2 seasons. Because my hope is Robbie's going to work out, Holden's going to work out. There's a transfer quarterback somewhere in that situation is going to work out. I'm excited about the future, but I just hope that we're not having to use Walker unless he is just the second coming of Cam Newton, which we always put on these kids, which is just terrible. Someone had a poll on Twitter asking if Auburn will storm the court if we win. I hope not. That's kind of getting old now. But we probably will. It looked like it was 64-39. No, if we didn't storm against UK, I doubt we would against Bama. Yeah, I think now we've reached the point where we get stormed on, not do the storming. aka Arkansas last year. Some other, I feel like we got stormed by somebody else recently. Was it Georgia? No. Anyway, yeah, I hope not. That we're not in the scenario that we need to be storming right now. Just take the win and get out of there. Unbeaten Lake. How do we feel about Kevin Steele joining the enemy? I did a Good Morning Auburn segment about that. Please go check that out if you haven't. Just some quick thoughts about it. I think they got a good defensive coordinator. I mean, sucks. We got rid of him. Whether you like him or not. So he's got a lot of history there. It seems like, the thought is that he's a placeholder. That may be true. There may be some truth. I just don't put all these message board rumors that everybody runs with. It kind of just perplexes me sometimes how many people buy into these things. Like, there's one thing to entertain something and go, what if? I'm a big what if guy. I like you heard me talk about this basketball team. What if Auburn did this? What if this happens for Auburn or against Auburn, whatever? But I'm not really saying that's going to happen. So I don't buy into he's a placeholder thing. If it happens, you can tell me I was wrong. And I'll be like, all right. But my general thoughts are good defensive coordinator. Hate that we're going to have to face him, especially if he utilizes the talent that is already there with what we know he's. There we go. All right, mic check. All right, we're back. I think we got it. I think I'm seeing a connection on there. I don't know what happened there. I don't know what happened. So if you guys let me know that you got the thumbs up, that you can hear me. All right, we can hear you. Okay, good. Apologies for that. That's the first time that's ever happened. It could be I have my cords a little too tight here. That's probably what's going on. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and loosen that up just in the off chance that happens again. I have no clue what happened there. But that was disappointing. Pride myself on not having those type of things happen, but it does. All right. So let me roll back up here before we missed some of these comments that you guys had. Women's team beat Tennessee last season. That was amazing to watch. It was, and they've shown a little bit of life recently. So I kind of intrigued how they're going to end this season for them. Don't storm the court. Don't give them a satisfaction. There's going to be some students that do it, though, probably. And then that's going to just be the tidal wave of things, that happen. Let's see here. Everyone's making a joke about Steele making a run for the Bama job. See, that's another one of those rumors I don't buy into. that Stop the Steal campaign here. I think that was just another one of those big things. No one's shown me proof that happened. Until someone shows me definitive proof, a conversation, a recording, it's just message board fodder. Well, if I fire the audio guy, then that means there's no video guy. Then there's no host. That means there's no show. So I can't fire him. But yeah. All right. So what else is on your mind? Since we're back, let me go ahead and do that. That ruined the show a little bit here. But our friends at allthingsauburn.net, you want to check them out. They are a great place for you to utilize if you want somewhere to stay at Auburn, especially here for these busy weekends that are coming up on the plains with softball, baseball season, track and field season, all of these things, and plenty of other things going on campus in the spring, commencement coming up. Tanya over there, she is a great lady that you just want to know if you want to know great Auburn people, but she'll also help you get set up at their location there, right behind Mama Goldberg's, place for you to stay, but also to have a full and complete Auburn experience. Hit them up at allthingsauburn.net. There who bring you the call-in link tonight. So take advantage of that if you'd like to tonight. We've had one caller in. I promise I won't have it. Well, I shouldn't say I promise that I won't have any more microphone issues tonight. Scandalous says, I totally support Kevin Steele for Bama head coach. You say that. Be careful. Be very, very careful. I'm convinced you could put me as the head coach of Alabama and we would win with the way they are stacked at this point. Message boards are hot garbage for the most part. Here's the thing. Message boards for me are not someplace that I want to be. And that's not a knock on the companies that run them, the companies that I think they do the best that they can. It's really who you populate yourself with, or who chooses to populate your message board and what is allowed to grow and fester there. For me, it's just not something that I necessarily want to be a part of. I'm on one message board that I can just pop in there every once in a while just to see what's stirring up, especially some of the big discussion point times. But other than that, I don't really message board it up. Steele wants another head coach job, but it definitely won't be Bama. Yeah, he's not going to be the head coach of Bama. No offense, but he's too old. Once Saban leaves, they're going to want somebody there for a long, long, long time. So you're looking at the Lane Kiffin situation, the Dabo Sweeney situation, anybody else out there. So yeah, he's not that. Have you seen his record as a head coach? Well, see, that's a little bit misconstrued there, because if I have it correct, he's only been a head coach once at Baylor, and it was awful. So the one time he was, but how many coaches have had a bad start and actually ended up turning it around? So yeah, and then he's 0-1 at Auburn as an interim head coach. So, but we really kind of get that. This whole obsession with seeing Kevin Steele fail is just, to me, it's a little toxic, and I don't really like to engage it all that much, because some of these, no offense, Scandalous, but some of these things that are brought up are the same talking points that, I don't know if you got them from here, but are on message boards. We all got to have a villain. He's gone. Let him do what he wants. I think he was a great defensive coordinator for us, and I think if he utilizes the talent that's there, they could have a very deadly defense. So it's not that it's concerning. It's just like, not surprising. They decided to hire Tommy Turnover. Tommy Rees? Is that what you're talking about? Is that his name? I didn't know that his nickname was Tommy Turnover. The Crane brothers. Yeah, they get everybody these days, don't they? Interviewed Hugh Freeze this morning. It was pretty good. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does with those recruits. Yeah, I'm really getting looking forward to seeing Hugh Freeze as the face of the program more. What do I mean by that? I mean more out there on these things like podcasts and stuff. As we get into spring practice, you're going to see more of that. I'm ready to see what this program looks like under his leadership, truly, because right now it's been all about recruiting. Right now it's been all about, quelling a little bit of that firestorm of disgruntledness about his hire early on. But we've yet to see the the fruition of the day-to-day operations coming out of that program. I'm just excited to see what it is, see if it feels different. If it already feels different, but there's a difference between perception and reality. And so I'm just intrigued. And that's one of the good things about, one of the few things about going through a transition. Notre Dame fans nicknamed him Tommy Turnover when he played. Oh, I didn't know that. That's tough, man. It's a tough thing to have there. I did not know that was his nickname, and that's sad if that's true. But hey, if you didn't want it, then don't turn the ball over, I guess. It is interesting watching Alabama go through this again, all at the same time having to go through a defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator hire, but it just really hasn't slowed them down all that much. So it's not like it's going to really matter for them. Is he a pretty solid OC? I'm guessing he is, since he got the job at Bama. I mean, based on what people are saying here, being Tommy Turnover, I guess that was as a player. Then not really. He's one of those guys that, for someone like me who doesn't really get super involved in knowing every single assistant coach around there, that I've heard his name before, so he's obviously done some significant thing. He's at Notre Dame, and Notre Dame doesn't hire slouches. So the big thing that for me is, and I think was kind of my conversation about Kevin Steele, Alabama is so stacked right now, they can make anybody look good. They can. Let's face it, Freeze has a lot more work to do with Auburn has a lot more to work with. Sorry, I really misread that. To work with at Auburn than at Ole Miss. So I think he will get who he wants as a player. Yeah, I would say I agree with that. Now, what I'm rightfully so to some extent accused of by Ole Miss fans, we did a video about 3-4 weeks now where we asked the question, why are Ole Miss fans mad at Auburn? And they took this to offense to that. But I've talked to Jason Alvarez, who I've had on here to talk. He was an Ole Miss fan. He expressed, yeah, y'all are still the better program for a coach to be at right now, but that gap has closed up a little bit. So I appreciate honesty like that. And I agree with that too, that I think we are still the better program to be at right now, whether it's NIL wise, fan involvement, history. Auburn really just, what they might lack to Ole Miss is game day experience outside of the game. Vandy's tied with Tennessee with a minute left. SEC is a deadly place, my friends. What is it? We got to stop talking Bama stuff here. They wanted to get rid of Bill O'Brien. People say a lot of things. He's gone now, so it doesn't matter. Maybe they're getting all the calls tonight. Apparently, home court advantage is a lot more apparent these days. That's a double comment there. I don't know why I came on there twice. 39-14. Sorry, I couldn't help it. Man. Yeah, that's the stat that's really stuck in everybody's craw, and rightfully so. But when y'all have rolled your eyes at me in post-game shows saying, Kyle, you harp too much on this free throw thing, whether it was legitimately they got to the line or not, look at the difference it made. Free throws win and lose championships. It's just a fact. I'm excited to see what Coach Montgomery can get done. Off to a great start, isn't he? Getting almost said Walker White to be his quarterback. It makes it much easier, in my view, not as a recruiting professional, but in my view, I can get to this logically. It is much easier to recruit. I keep knocking the table, Kyle, and I keep knocking y'all's screen. To recruit for your offensive, I don't want to call them secondary players, but your offensive people outside of quarterback, if your quarterback's already there and they know what they're working with. So this makes it more attractive for things like the running back that Kevin had brought up on his phone call earlier, that may want to come to Auburn. That makes it more attractive for wide receivers, for a tight end that may be decommitted from Alabama, for offensive linemen. Knowing that your future is, at least perception-wise, secure already this early in the class is going to pay big dividends for Philip Montgomery. What I'm intrigued to watch with Philip Montgomery, let's just assume we have enough success with him, right? Success that, it's maybe 8-4 this season. Maybe we do a little bit better the next season. After 2 seasons, does he leave? Is he wanting to be a head coach again? Because to me right now, there's not many jobs that you take as a step up at OC from Auburn, unless you were asked to leave. So yeah, I'm excited for Philip Montgomery to be here. I hope this is kind of his swan song, and maybe, but to me, something strikes me that he wants to be a head coach again. So I'm wondering how long we'll have him. But for some reason, Ron Roberts, I haven't talked to Ron Roberts or anything like that. I just get the perception that this may be his last hurrah. What we thought Kevin Steele might have been. I feel great about the offense. My question is the defense and how Ron Roberts will use it. Just kind of like I'm talking about, I'm interested in seeing what the program looks like under the leadership of futures. What does that feel like? Same thing I think we can say with the Roberts situation. The best you can do is go back and look at his previous defenses and then guess from there. Doesn't necessarily always translate over to the SEC. So that's going to be a difference. But yeah, it's going to be one of those big questions. The big storylines this season will still be not so much a quarterback race, but can Robbie retain the job? But you're going to be, what's the defense going to look like? Or even what's the offense going to look like, but what's the defense going to look like? Because we don't have a lot of information about that. Sure, it's been said a million times already, but ever since Hugh Freeze took the job, it has felt like a nice breath of fresh air. It just feels completely different. Well, yeah, when you go through what Coach Harsin, whether it was by his own design or not, because there were several things that happened there, and some that weren't even in his ability to control. There was just never a foundation that was solid enough to fall back on, it felt like. And some of that he could have controlled. Some of that he couldn't have. And it's a shame because, that's going to be a part of our history that nobody looks back fondly at. His best memory is that he took out the Ole Miss win streak in Baton Rouge. So he'll always have that. I was about to say something that I'm going to restrain from tonight. It's settled. We will start calling Walker White Heinsberg. Am I missing the reference here? It's a double comment here too. It came in twice. What am I missing there? Is that a reference to something I don't know? That's one of the bad things about when you guys are just commenting, not calling in. Some of these things just go right over my head. But it happens from time to time. So how long do you guys think it'll be before the energy returns to the Auburn fan base in general? Like, I'm not just talking about, after this game, if we get the win, but like, how long do you think we get the feel back that everybody's just excited about everything at Auburn? Because right now it just kind of feels like we're in just nobody really wants to engage in much outside of complaining and things like that. I had a feeling it was a Breaking Bad reference. And that's when I said Walter White earlier, but I didn't know that was Heinsberg was a reference to that. I didn't watch the show. I just know that's his name. And so when I did the Walker White thing today, there's a little bit of a clip in there from that because I knew some of y'all would like that. Trying to do little small, funny, cute little things for you on that. When does the energy return? When the threes start dropping. Well, they dropped last night. We had pretty good three-point shooting considering the rest of the season last night, and it wasn't too shabby at times. The Orr hit one. Sorry, a little notification come up there that never really makes a noise. I've got all my audio settings messed up now because of having to fix the audio issues earlier. Yeah, if the threes start dropping more consistently, that means more wins. That means that's because the shooting really is the main thing that is lacking from this team right now. The consistent distance shooting, and the free throw consistency. Shooting in general. We are great defensively. The Tennessee game showed you that. Outside of that, yeah. I think the attitude will do a 180 if we win Saturday. Unfortunate thing is that the last few games are going to be extremely difficult. I guess what I was more asking is the attitude. Yes, it would do a 180 for a day, but I'm asking for when the Auburn spirit, for a lack of a word, kind of returns to us. Is it, to me, if they can get the ship righted in basketball and kind of reignite that fire, if baseball and softball and gymnastics finish well, that's going to kind of get that. When you couple that with spring practice get rolling and A-Day coming up, we might have a nice little fervor or fire reignite amongst the Auburn fandom overall, because it feels kind of boring right now. We want something to talk about other than just speculation, but that's part of the game here. And when you don't have a lot of good things happening at the moment, that's all you can do. Walker, Auburn Ranger. I actually like that better than any Walter White reference. Walker, Auburn Ranger. But they did that with Walker Kessler too, so that's kind of, yeah. It's still well played. Corey says, I watched the blooper where Austin had the camera malfunction. Where have you been, Corey? That's been out for a while. Did you just rewatch it tonight, or was this the first time you saw that? I'll give you guys reference. So if you go, you can find it probably most easily on Instagram. By the way, if you're not following us on Instagram, help us out. Follow us there. We're trying to get to 1,000 followers there, because you get like little, technical term here, abilities to do other things, to share things when you hit 1,000 followers, but it's hard to do. So we're at like 830, I think. But anyway, go there. You can find it. It's hilarious. Let me just say this. I'm glad he was wearing pants. Walker is my cousin. This will be the third. Okay, now I'm following. I think this is a joke. He will be the third white to play quarterback at Auburn. Is that true? Like, I know Stan, Sean. Surely there's another one out there, right? White's just such a common name. You're messing with me about that. It's rough right now, besides the positives of recruiting in football and basketball. Yeah, that's fair. You watched it over last weekend. I've had that thing on repeat. If I get stuck in that trap of watching that blooper on repeat, it is good. This is why I stress to you guys. I know you can't make every live stream of stuff. You can't miss these things, especially like if nothing else, set your clocks to 9 Eastern time for Sunday nights for the Auburn experience, because you get the podcast recording, but that moment happened in the moments before and after. I think it was actually after, where we're just chatting it up, hanging out. You never know what's going to happen. It's basically like a mini Wednesday night show. Should have gotten Pat White. I don't know who that is. Walker, Stan, and Sean. But surely there's been another one. That's what I'm saying. I know those three. Yeah. And let's be honest, Walker hasn't signed yet, so it's not truly the third one yet. My son will be the fourth. It has been spoken into being, and thus it will be. Love it. Neil, it would make me happier than nothing else to be able to reference back to this point. However, I don't know how old your son is. I'm just going to take a guess. He's probably got 10 years till he gets to college. And we're talking about, hey, you remember that time I predicted my son was going to be the next quarterback with the last name White? Here he is. Be cool. Nothing will ever beat War Dustbuster. I mean, it was. I think that one plays is bigger for me. We should have gotten Pat White. I still don't know who Pat White is. And Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers would have been a nice thing to have happened for Auburn. Really would have liked that one. You come from a long line of athletes. Are you an athlete? DeMarcus Ware. Yeah, we could play the game all night. Auburn should have gotten this guy, that guy, all that stuff, but they didn't come, and so they have history somewhere else. I do look back on the Phillip Rivers thing. I'm just like, what could have been? You know, if people forget too, we could have had Russell Wilson too. He chose to go to Wisconsin, and that would have been a nice kind of carryover from the Cam Newton situation. Wasn't meant to be, though. Wasn't meant to be. All right, we're getting towards the end of our time together. Close there, so continue to bring your comments and questions in. Call in. I'll leave the phone line open for a few more minutes here if you want to call in tonight. It's kind of a slow night for everybody. I know we've been out of the routine of things, but if I check the schedule correctly, the next 2 Wednesday nights, there won't be a basketball game conflicting with it. So I think the very last one will be the Alabama away game, which will conflict with it. But yeah, in the meantime, let me remind you of a few things. We are still planning to continue doing our Good Morning Auburn segments. There seems to be a little bit less interest in those of lately. So as I tell you guys, not kind of as a, you better do this or not, but I only do them as long as there's a big interest in them, and that is starting to wane a little bit. So if you'd like to see those continue, I need to continue to see those numbers go up and the interactions, the comments and stuff go with them. So please do that if you like that, to continue to encourage me to follow through with those. But we will plan to continue to do one for the rest of the week. Also, check out all the links that we have in the description for you. We've got the Booster Club, the channel memberships that you can be. Both of those start at $1 a month. There's other things as well that you can do to help keep the lights on here at E2C Network, keep allowing me to do this thing that I love so much. And all that is available for you. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. Biggest thing you can do here is just be here, be part of our little family within the Auburn family, smash the like button, and just enjoy being part of this crazy little thing we call E2C Network. All right, let's get into our last commentary for the night. You're an athlete, just ask the softball team. Your softball team. Why do I feel like that was oozing with sarcasm? But maybe you are. I've seen some pretty good athletes on some rec softball teams. I love how Auburn Twitter claims they invented everything. Bama is copying us again with handing out pizza, and someone said Auburn invented Italian cuisine. And this kind of goes back, Devin, to what I was talking about earlier. There's such a dullness. The meme culture has died as well with the lack of perceived success that should have had this season. The excitement has kind of died off from what's been a really high fervor for it over the last couple of seasons. And so things like people are just looking for things to be mad and argue about. I don't understand getting on Twitter and looking to argue with people. To me, it's just silly. That's why when someone gets mad at us on social media, you usually just see me post a funny GIF, which usually makes them madder. Didn't Wilson choose Wisconsin because of their offensive line, of our offensive line questions? Wouldn't shock me. Would not shock me. Brett Favre, was he ever in the mix for this? I don't remember that. This has become Auburn should have gotten these guys show. Auburn's offense. That was a good offensive line. Byron Isom, Mike Berry. Let's see if I can get them all here. Kyle, Ryan Pugh, Lee Zimba, and who was the other tackle? Basically, we had an outstanding offensive line. Even actually, Lee Zimba is married to one of my fellow graduates from my high school, so I'd be careful. But Lee, you could have stayed still a few more times, buddy. There was a joke one time. I was a student, obviously, while he was playing, and we carried yellow flags just so we could go ahead and throw flags on Lee Zimba doing false starts before the referees. And they were like, "Well, we got you. Still a good offensive lineman, though. There's a reason he made it, at least for a little while in the NFL. You're an ace slugger in the church softball league. Well done. Pat Dye turned Brett Favre down. Is that facts or is that speculation? Brett I know he ended up at Southern Miss, but I didn't know about that part of that. All right, folks. That's going to do it for tonight. A little bit of a slow night, little slow crowd, but I do mean this, that I love doing this show with you guys, even for a small, intimate crowd like this, because it is just easy. There's no preparation for it. I enjoy hearing your commentary about everything, whether we agree or not on things. And I enjoy your calls when you're able to do that. So thank you guys for being here. I'm excited to get this more regular again. We will have one more conflict for that next Alabama game coming up. But I believe pretty much outside of that, we're going to have Wednesday night shows until basically the summer. Don't quote me on that because something will always come up in conflict with it. But invite a friend if you can. Tell them to be here. Tell them we do this every single Wednesday night, that they have an opportunity to have their voice heard here on this show. And we'd love for you to still be here and invite someone here. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. Look forward to seeing you around here on the YouTube channel, hopefully tomorrow morning, and any other content that we're putting out for you here at E2C Network, where we share the whole Auburn experience. War Eagle.